Yo, what is up guys? Delboy here, aka Blue Collar Sports TV. Hopefully you guys are doing well. If you're new here, smash that like, hit subscribe, all of that good stuff. So this past weekend we had the announcement of Saul Canelo Alvarez versus Billy Joe Saunders. That fight is scheduled to go down on the 8th of May. And I wanted to share my 2 cents on this fight, mainly from the Billy Joe Saunders perspective. And really the question I want to ask is, do you have faith in Billy Joe Saunders going in there and basically giving it his all, leaving no stones unturned and basically going in there to win? Do you have faith in Billy Joe Saunders to do that? That's the question I will pose to you guys. I'll give you my thoughts on this one. I have to admit, I'm not really all that excited for this fight. You guys know I'm not the biggest Canelo fan. While I rate this guy's skill set as world class, I think he rinses that A-side privilege way too much. And to me, that just takes away from his fights, quite frankly. I've gone into detail in regards to that in the past. Most of you guys know what I'm talking about. But take Canelo aside, let's talk about Billy Joe Saunders. I mean, I have to admit, while I rate Billy Joe Saunders to a certain extent as a talent, I've got no faith in this guy whatsoever to apply himself in camp and actually go in that ring against Canelo with the intention of leaving no stones unturned and doing whatever it takes to win. Billy Joe Saunders to me has been a guy who's always lacked that dedication to the craft, and he's always kind of half-assed his career. And, you know, the levels of ambition that he's shown in the past is, let's be honest, not all that impressive. I mean, this is a guy who was deadly serious when he said, I think Gennady Golovkin beats me and Chris Eubank Jr. on the same night. And I've never forgotten that, and quite frankly, he's never given me a reason to forget that. Even going into this Canelo fight, Billy Joe Saunders' initial reaction to getting this fight was very placid. Bear in mind, Billy Joe's a shit talker, you know, he talks for talk in certain occasions, but in this fight, oh, I'm happy to be there, you know, Canelo's a great fighter, blah-de-blah-de-blah. He just, his demeanour right away seems to be a guy who is just happy to make up the numbers and he's grateful for the payday. That's how Billy Joe Saunders is coming across right now. And, you know, like I say, his past behaviour is indicative of somebody who doesn't believe in himself at the elite level. Yeah, Billy Joe Saunders, he believes in himself to a certain extent when he's fighting the likes of Chris Eubank Jr., David Lemieux, Andy Lee. He's confident of beating these guys, but when it comes to the upper echelon, that same level of belief hasn't really been there for me, you know, and there's a reason why it's taken Billy Joe this long to get this sort of fight. Bear in mind, Billy Joe Saunders won his first world title in December 2015, so it's taken Billy Joe Saunders the best part of half a decade to land one of these big fights against the elite in his respective divisions, and that is down to Billy Joe Saunders due to a lack of ambition, like I said, a lack of dedication, outside the ring antics. He's never given me a reason to believe that when he does get one of these fights, that he's going to do anything more than basically shit the bed and lie down for a paycheck. Billy Joe Saunders has given me no reason to believe any other than that. Yeah, to me, Billy Joe Saunders is a talented fighter, and in my opinion, he should be a lot further ahead than he is. But what's the point having that talent if you don't have the mental fortitude and the dedication to apply yourself and be the best you can? Billy Joe Saunders has never done that. So I've got no faith whatsoever in Saunders going into this fight with Canelo with the actual ambition to go in there and try and win this fight. I think he's going in there to pick up the payday, in all honesty. I'm not saying he's not going to try full stop, but what I am saying is the victory in this fight really is secondary. That would be a bonus to Billy Joe Saunders. The primary objective for Billy Joe is just really to secure that bag, get to the fight and get paid. And if he can pull off a miracle, brilliant. But that's really Billy Joe's mindset going into this fight. I honestly don't really believe that he believes in himself, quite frankly. And, you know, you can say I'm clutching at straws or I'm drawing to conclusions that are not valid, but I'm going by Billy Joe's track record in his career, how he's managed his own career, what he said in the past. I'm only going by what Billy Joe has said himself and what he's done himself, or lack thereof, right? That's all I'm going by. I've got no faith whatsoever in Billy Joe. going into this fight. And even his reaction to getting this fight was peculiar, man. Fight Film, aka Precise, did a video on this, on Billy Joe's interview with IFL TV, and he said to Coogan that I'm going to go in there, pick up my payday, and basically lay down and get beat. That's basically what Billy Joe Saunders said, and I'm sure he said that in sarcasm, in jest, but there's an old saying, sometimes there's a lot of truth said in jest. Maybe there's times in your lives where you've been with a group of friends or a group of people and you've said like a joke or a half-assed remark, and you know you're saying it to be funny, but deep down you know there's some truth behind that. I'm sure we've all done that on a few occasions in our lives, and yeah, you know, Billy Joe going into this fight just does not convince me. I truly hope he proves me wrong, because recent Canelo opponents, to me, have just really been there to make up the numbers and get paid. Anthony Yildirim in the last fight was an absolute disgrace. Callum Smith was just happy to make the distance. Kovalev didn't look himself. Neither did Daniel Jacobs. The last guy to really go in there with Canelo and fight him was Gennady Golovkin. That's the truth. So I hope Billy Joe Saunders can buck that trend of recent Canelo opponents. But, you know, given his character, given what he said in the past, and given how he's acted, he's given me no reason to really believe that he will buck that trend, quite frankly. But if he does, let's say Billy Joe is serious and he's just playing mind games, if he does genuinely try to go there to win, I think he actually brings a style that is interesting against Canelo. Canelo is a very good counter-puncher, great body puncher, good combination puncher. He has got better at cutting the ring off, but he's not a guy necessarily who's always looked good against slick fighters who can back up and pop the jab. You know, he's not really looked good against that style in the past. So while Billy Joe brings a style that intrigues me against Canelo, I don't think he brings that right mindset with it, quite frankly. So, listen, as it stands right now, I cannot lie to you guys, I'm not really all that excited for this fight. You know, as we get closer to the fight, when I see more training from Billy Joe, more interviews, maybe he'll convince me. But right now, I have to be honest, not really feeling it. But anyway, I want you guys to share your thoughts below. Are you excited for this fight? Do you believe in Billy Joe Saunders to finally give it his all and really show us what he's about? Or will he lie on his back like a cheap whore for a paycheck? Share your thoughts below. It's been your guy Delboy. Peace.